Welcome to Wayne's Weird World. Yes, Gus. Come on, say hello. Yeah. Shingles. Okay, off you go. Shingles. Would I prefer? Yes, anything. Whatever. Cheers. You want to play? Okay, yeah, right. You're going to have to wait. All right. Now, keep the camera. When do you know when to repot your orchids? Well, number one, wait till they finish flowering. Two, if you can't get your little finger in there, it might be time for a new pot. How big? Well, I would say that's too big. Yeah, well, you could, but I think it's a little bit much. Now that one, it gives it about a finger space around the pot, and that's not too much. That's actually about right. So, I think that's the size pot that I'm going to go for. Potting mix, here we go. Keep the label handy. This one's Dendrobium, kingianum, dragonet, Victorian flare, solid violet lip. Oh, I like that name. Solid violet lip, yeah. Good strong color. Okay. Oh, it's tight. That's another way to check. When it's that tight, oh yeah, look at that. It's getting very, very tight in this pot. So now that it's finished flowering, putting out new roots, look at that. New growth on the roots. See those? Woohoo! Yep. Always a good indicator. And then you could always check for smell. If it smells musty like a bog, not too bad. I don't tease them up too much. Now, this is also a good time to check for scale, other problems. Get some of these old leaves out of the way. When they start shedding a lot of leaves, I start asking myself why. And I did notice on this one, there's scale. And the scale will get into the tips of the new growth and eat away because it's nice and soft and juicy. So I'm just picking out with the tweezers, getting in there, pulling out those old leaves. Now an old growth like this one, that old back bulb, there's a little bit of green at the base of it. So I'm not going to get in there too tight. I'm not going to reef into it. I could get my bonsai cutters out, but I don't think it's necessary. Clean it up a little bit. Pull out. And that's also a good place for things, little insect pests, like scale and mites to hide. So you go around and clean it up a little bit. Now I think that's looking fairly clean. Now, scale. I will give it another spray. I sprayed it just the other day. And it's oftentimes underneath the new... Oh, yes. I'm not sure if you can see it. Just under there, under the sheath. There's scale right there. So when you pull away the sheath, you'll oftentimes find any scale that's hiding in them. Okay, so that's the size that it was. This is the size that it's going to be. Yes, it's chook feeding time. You're full of beans. So get rid of that pot. Fresh potting mix. Put a bit in the bottom. There's charcoal, there's gravel. Pine bark, man fern, you name it, it's in there. Okay. Another thing, people oftentimes plant them too deep. A little bit left, a little bit less. So if I can just have the top of the growth about there, then I consider that pretty good. I've got a mosquito flying around me. Not happy. And as you start putting it in, tap it in, wiggle around. Let's see if we can get a little bit more in there. I did notice some new growth in there, so I'm trying not to stick my fingers where I'm going to damage the new growth. This mosquito is buzzing around me. Not happy. So now we're into midsummer here in Tasmania, and a lot of these orchids can do with a repot at this time of the year. Trying to get that in there. Man fern, pine bark. Yeah. There's even a bit of lime in this mix. Charcoal's good. Some people will even pot their orchids up in pure charcoal, which is okay. But it gives it nothing as far as nourishment. So you need to be a bit more vigilant as far as fertilizer. The downside with all the organics is that they break down. So you've got to be vigilant in that respect. Try and get it in there fairly firm. And I think we've got it. I pity the people that have to do this in their kitchen. But even here in the greenhouse with a brick floor, I spread out the sheets of plastic if I'm going to be making a really big mess, because it just makes it easier to clean up. Take it all and throw it in the orchard, throw it in the garden. In the garbage? No. Doesn't go in the garbage. Not unless it's seriously, seriously contaminated. There. I did spray it just the other day, but going around and checking to see if any of those bits are live scale. So then I'll go around with a toothbrush after I spray it again and give it another scrub. Now, I think that's it. One more thing on the label: the repotting date. So I simply put an RP / the 11th of the 2nd, 2022. I don't know why the people in the US put the month, day, and year. No, it's simple. The day, the month, the year. Makes sense. But they even still function in inches and feet. So, who am I to say? I was born there. Not my fault. Sorry. Yeah, not my fault. And when I water, a good free draining mix should be dripping within seconds, as this is. If it's not a free draining mix, if it's not dripping in seconds, reconsider what you're putting your orchids into. Well, this is dripping nearly straight away. So that's it. Repotting an orchid. How do you know when? See that? New growth and a leaf died. Here's another one. And that blotchiness, I would start considering suspecting that of having spider mite. So I've sprayed it once, and I'll spray it again. This one's gemstone crossed Lloyd's Choice. Another little kingianum. Okay, that's it. Well, I've got to scratch my shingles. Oh, I'm loving this. Anyway, cheers. Wayne's Weird World. 5 weeks of shingles. Aren't you envious? Yeah, right. Okay, cheers. The afternoon meds before I take my bedtime meds after my breakfast meds. Right. See ya.